I feel so bad for detransitioners. For the people who regret going through a medical gender transition, not only do they have to deal with the side effects due to cross-sex hormones, some have to live without their breasts, testicles, penis, uterus, and ovaries. No words can describe how tragic that is. And then there's the emotional part. Did I do this to my own body? Did I mess up my whole life? And something I think is even worse is, did my parents mess me up? Because a lot of detransitioners transitioned when they were minors. Detransitioners are now starting to not only blame the doctors who did this to them, but they're also suing the doctors and the therapists, and I think it's amazing. No matter how old you are, if you're mentally ill, if you really struggle with your mental health, you seek help at clinics where medical professionals are hired in order to help you, but they don't, even though in theory they could help you, then they are the ones to blame. You could have been 50. It does not matter. You have the right not to be wrongfully treated by the system. It doesn't matter if you're 30, if you have borderline, you deserve and you have the right to be treated by the system correctly. You do not have the right to, on purpose, be wrongfully treated just because of trans ideology. We can all agree the minors cannot consent to this transition, but even if we're talking about adults, patients cannot decide what medical treatment they should receive. Believe it or not, you can't really compare a gender transition to body modifications. You have the personal right to modify your body however you want, but you don't have the right to pick out your own medicine to treat your mental disorders. You don't, and you should not have the right to, because you're not a professional. You can compare a gender transition to antidepressants. And talking about depression, people who get diagnosed with clinical depression don't have the right to choose their own antidepressants. Sometimes people with depression don't even need antidepressants. Sometimes that's not even recommended. Mental health is complicated. The thing I will never, ever understand is how we put so much pressure on people who are struggling with their mental health, mentally unstable people, to treat their own mental health issues, instead of expecting doctors, therapists who have degrees to treat their patients. You have doctors and therapists who call themselves medical professionals who are, I hope, mentally stable. But for some immoral or ideological reasons, it's the mentally unstable person who needs to fix themselves, even though they are already confused and struggle a lot. I mean, when you really struggle with your mental health, you can't even brush your teeth, you can't even eat, you can't even drink anything. So they're supposed to pick out their own medicine? What? As I said before, detransitioners already have to deal with the side effects due to the physical transition, the psychological and emotional side effects. They unfortunately have to deal with a lot of hate coming from the trans community. The trans community, first of all, doesn't represent trans people like the real ones, and second of all, the trans community is starting to act like a cult. So if a person regrets their transition and say, I wasn't actually trans, I thought I was, but I wasn't, the community will consider that person a traitor, someone who left the cult. I have so many videos on my phone right now of trans activists absolutely disrespecting, hating, and shitting on detransitioners. It's not easy for me to make this video because I get so angry. I know I'm a transsexual person. I know that I'm someone who transitioned, but I ended up being happy with that. I know. I feel like I have to. That it's my responsibility as a trans person who's outspoken to also highlight detrans stories. Why? Because all the trans people that you see on the internet just shit on them. They just hate on them. And I think the reason is that these people are just really insecure about their own transition. But guess what? I'm not. When we're talking about another human being that's not me is sharing their story, it's not about me. And it has nothing to do with what I've been through. I'm actually mature enough, smart enough to understand that. But most trans activists are not. I'm highlighting detrans stories and constantly talking about them because they matter. We have heard enough about the people like me. We've seen so many documentaries about trans people who are finally happy in their own skin. People get it. What people don't get is how children are going through this, even though they can't consent, and most of them end up regretting it later in life. What people don't get is how corrupt the system is, and how the system is hurting so many people. I cannot sit back and relax, live my happy trans life, when I see so many people who've gone through the same as me, who are not happy, and who are devastated, being shit on, lied about. I can't. I am still trans just because some people thought they were trans, but they're not. Isn't that crazy? Wow. I can sit here all day and listen to a man talk about how much he loves the female body, how straight he is, how much he loves the vajayjay. I still love the D. It doesn't change anything. We have to listen to each other. We have to share our stories with each other, and we all have to be more open-minded. I think a lot of detransitioners are beautiful, inside and out. And it kills me to see so many people hate on them for no reason. How dare you? As I said before, when it comes to trans activism, there are people who really mean well, but listen to the wrong people. But there are also evil people in this. And I lose a little bit faith in humanity when I see the hate detransitioners get. I'm serious. It's devastating. I think that evil people do exist. I of course believe that narcissistic people exist. And I believe there are a lot of them within the trans movement. The most common argument you hear within the trans community when it comes to detransitioners is, well, it's not a lot of people who detransition. Excuse me? How many people, according to you, do you want to see regret their transitions before you think it's a problem and before you take these people seriously? How many? 100,000 people? 500,000 people? 1,000,000? How many people worldwide do you want to see mess up their own lives or get their lives messed up by medical professionals? How many? What if it was you? Because it seems like the trans activists don't think it's a problem with people who regret their transitions because it's not them regretting it. Just because I was successful with my transition, I'm happy that I've done it, I'm a happy person now, living a transsexual life, doesn't mean that I can't be in the same community, environment as detransitioners, who literally experienced the opposite as me, or who literally felt the opposite about the results of the transition. I will always be protective, overly protective, some might say, when it comes to detransitioners. I think I get even more angry watching these videos of idiots hating on them. It gets me so mad, and sometimes I'm with a detransitioner who's like, oh, what an idiot. And I'm like, oh. It breaks my heart, and I really care about the people who are trying to fix their mental health and who are struggling. Thank you for all the love that you show me, but also detransitioners. I do read your comments, and it's overwhelming that you also are compassionate about this topic and about the people. It warms my heart. I hope you like this video. It's a little bit different than what I usually do. I do a lot of reaction videos, but I was just planning on saying a few words about detransitioners and then doing a reaction video, but I couldn't stop talking. So I hope you don't mind. But don't worry, I will make a reaction video about detrans hate, so you gotta watch that too. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more content like this, remember to hit subscribe and the notification bell. If you want, you can support me with a small donation under Super Thanks. It means the world to me, so thank you, and thank you for supporting me. Click the link down below if you want to become a member of this channel. Remember to follow me on Twitter and on Rumble under the same name. And I'll see you all in my next video. Peace out.